Hey YouTube, Heartless Angel here, bringing you yet another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Now today I am facing a very special person, someone I look up to, and pretty much the person who got me into competitive Pokemon battling, Sucker4Jessica. That is right, I landed a battle with the one and only Sucker4Jessica. Now, this is a huge honor for me, and I was very, very excited to get the chance to face him. Now, I'm leading off with my Galvantula to try to set up the sticky webs. Now, I know he does run the Frostlass, which means he has the possibility of taunting me, and he does end up leading out with Frostlass. Now, thinking he's going to go for the taunt, I switch out Galvantula and go into Gardevoir, thinking I can Shadow Ball this thing and hopefully one-hit KO it. So, he does indeed go for the taunt, and, you know, that's fine by me. I don't run any setup on my Gardevoir. It is purely offensive. It is, nope, I don't run the Calm Mind, and I did used to run Will-O-Wisp on her, but I decided to actually switch out with Focus Blast because I felt that I can take on steel types like Heatran, which would normally wall her. So next turn, he goes for the spike, set up the spikes, and I go for the Shadow Ball, hoping to, like I said, one-hit KO it. Sadly, that does not happen, and he survives. Okay, so I'm thinking right now I really should have gone for the Hyper Voice. He does get the Cursed Body off, leaving my Shadow Ball useless, so I go for the Hyper Voice. And being able to outspeed me, he goes for the Destiny Bond, taking out my Gardevoir right then and there. Third turn, Gardevoir is completely wiped out. I am devastated here because, like I said, Gardevoir is my special sweeper, and I completely forgot about the Destiny Bond. I should have switched out. Now, he brings in the Tornadus, and I bring out the Excadrill thinking, okay, the only way that I am going to be able to take this Tornadus down is, or my best bet is with my Galvantula. So wanting to get rid of the spikes as soon as possible, I bring out my my Excadrill and I go for the Rapid Spin. He goes for Heat Wave, and because I'm such a bulky set, I actually survive the Heat Wave and get the Rapid Spin off, wiping away his spikes. Next turn, he goes for the Superpower, finishing off my Excadrill. Honestly, that's fine. Excadrill did its part. Well, it would have been nice if it could have stayed a bit longer. I didn't want to switch out into anything else. I decided to sack pretty much my Excadrill. He brings in, okay, I bring in Galvantula, and he Hurricanes me. He doesn't even bring me down to my Sash, and I get the Thunder off, taking out a huge threat. This Tornadus was a really big threat, and I was able to take it out with another shot. He comes in with Alakazam, and I know for a fact that he's going to outspeed me and he's going to kill me. He uses Psychic, and down goes Galvantula. Now I'm thinking here, I'm going to go into the Entei and go for Extreme Speed because I don't think I can outspeed this, and I don't know how well Entei is going to take a Psychic. So I decide to try to take it out with an Extreme Speed. It does not kill. Really close kill, but not enough. He goes for the Psychic, and I actually take it pretty decently. He would be able to two-hit KO me, but I outspeed him with the Extreme Speed, but he actually switches out into the Tangrowth. Now, knowing being locked into Extreme Speed, I'm not going to be able to do anything to this Tangrowth. Not wanting him to go for either the Leech Seed or the Sleep Powder, I actually switch into Venusaur afterwards, knowing that he can't affect me with either of those moves, but he actually goes for the Focus Blast, which my Venusaur tanks pretty hard. Knowing next turn that I can go for a Stab Sludge Bomb, he actually goes for the knockoff, knocking off my Black Sludge, my main recovery item, which isn't, it's not bad, but it's not great either. I'm still at a pretty good amount of health, and the Sludge Bomb fails to take him out, but I do outspeed him, and I will take him out next turn with the Sludge Bomb, knowing he was probably going to, sack the Tangrowth. There was nothing else it could do with that little health. So next, he brings in Alakazam, probably trying to take me out with a psychic, but he actually stays in and goes for the future sight instead of the psychic. Now I'm like, okay then. I don't know if he was just willing to sack it. I was willing to sack my Venusaur for, say, switch in, thinking, he was going to take me down. But no, he went for the future sight and brings in his Pyroar now after I take out his Alakazam. Now this Pyroar, I have no idea. I've never faced a Pyroar, so I have no idea what this thing is capable of. So I think my safest bet is to go into Entei. He goes for the Fire Blast, which Entei actually takes, it didn't take as good as I thought it would, but then again, I find out he is actually Life Orb, which makes sense. Again, I have no idea how Pyroars work, so I go for the Extreme Speed. He switches out into Bouffalant. Now, I have seen his Bouffalant in action before. This thing terrifies me. I do not want Entei to die yet, but the future sight hits and Entei sadly goes down. So I'm terrified of this Bouffalant. I go into Venusaur hoping that if I can't outspeed this thing, I can at least hopefully take the head charge. And sadly, I can't. Now, I know he is usually, with this Bouffalant, he is choice banded, so he completely wrecks my Venusaur. But luckily, he does get taken down quite a bit from the recoil, and I come in with my Dragonite. Now, not wanting to risk anything, I go straight for the Dragon Claw, and it does take the Bouffalant down. And again, another gigantic threat. I was fearing this thing the whole match. I did not want to face this thing, but it did go down, and he comes in with the Pyroar. Again, I have no idea what it's going to do, so I go for the Dragon Dance. He will-wisps me, which I guess evens things out a bit with, me going with Dragon Dance and him burning me. So, I go for the Dragon Dance, while he goes for the Hyper Voice. He Hyper Voices next turn, and I go for the Dragon Claw. I outspeed him, but again, this thing with the burn, probably without the burn, I could have one-shotted it. It goes for the Hyper Voice and brings me down to little health. Now, these are our last two Pokemon, so it comes down to who's going to get first. I don't know if this thing runs Extreme Speed, so I'm like, okay, please Dragon Claw, because I didn't know if Extreme Speed, if I did Extreme Speed, what would work, but I did outspeed it, and amazing game, great honor. If you like this battle, please stay tuned for more.